Kashyyyk was the resource-rich jungle homeworld of the Wookiees and a major conflict zone throughout the Clone Wars before the initiation of Order 66, which led to decades of slavery and suffering of the Wookiees under the Imperials. However, this does beckon the question, how would you actually successfully invade this jungle world? Now, once again for this video, we're going to be taking the role of a CIS commander who is tasked with taking control of the Wookiees' homeworld. Our objectives are to gain the vital resources from the world and block the Republic's advance into the Outer Rim territories, similarly to the CIS's objectives in our own timeline. However, as we know, the CIS failed in its objective. So, how are we going to succeed? Now, I do have a fair few videos on Kashyyyk, including the CIS's campaign on the world, so check them out on the little notification thing that pops up on the screen in the corner. Now, firstly, we need to address why Kashyyyk is so difficult to invade. Firstly, it features very hostile terrain, including mountains, vast lakes, and dense jungles. For this reason, many vehicles and large numbers of troops struggle to advance and fight in such terrain, especially militaries that rely on overwhelming force such as the Separatists. Secondly, due to the dense jungles, air support is limited. You're going to struggle to find and hit your enemies due to the sheer amount of cover. And thirdly, and possibly most importantly, we have the Wookiees themselves. When invading Kashyyyk, you are facing capable warriors, perfectly adapted to their terrain. As well as this, they're significantly technologically advanced, ultimately meaning it's going to be very difficult to beat them. Now, one thing the Wookiees do not seem to have is a very large or capable fleet. Now, for the sake of this video, we are going to say that the Wookiees are bolstered by Republic forces sent there to defend the world. We're not going to be talking a massive army, but we're going to be talking a few legions of clones and Jedi. So, first things first, as ever, we're going to destroy the Republic's capital ships and form a blockade around the world. This blocks off the major hyperspace lanes crossing Kashyyyk, so you can bring in reinforcements from the Outer Rim. Be aware though, you will need a significant sized fleet, as the Republic will be trying very hard to take it back, not only to liberate Kashyyyk, but to regain access to its campaigns in the Outer Rim, as without Republic support, these offences will fail. You should also ensure that you set up a perimeter and patrol surrounding your blockade, as the Wookiees have actually a great knowledge regarding secret hyperspace routes etc, which could allow them to sneak up on your blockade and cause all manner of problems. So basically, your blockade really does need to be ironclad and ever vigilant. So in terms of actually invading the world, you've got to overcome the Wookiees themselves. So firstly, I recommend that you create a beachhead on the world and create fortifications. You're primarily going to want somewhere relatively flat and open. Now if you can't find this, then just level part of the jungle until you have it. This stops the enemy from being able to sneak up on you and is going to be very important. Now, I personally find it very unlikely the Wookiees nor the Republic will attempt to fight you on an open field. This is, after all, where the CIS is most effective. However, there may be some battles that do occur here, so you will primarily rely on fast-moving heavy support such as Hellfire droids to quickly close the gap and attack enemies on open terrain. Despite this, I find it much more likely that they'll wait for you to move into more difficult terrain such as jungles and launch guerrilla-style offensives. And this is the last thing you want to walk into. Now, you could just use energy signatures and the like to discover where Wookiee cities and strongholds are, and then just use orbital bombardments on them. But we don't want to do this. We're here to take the Wookiees' resources, and if we just orbital bombardment them, we'll probably just destroy most of them. So instead, we're going to begin counter-guerrilla operations. What I'm going to recommend is that we hire a ton of Trandoshan mercenaries and hunters. This is actually a technique employed by the CIS in Legends during the invasion of Kashyyyk, and we're going to task them with stopping the Wookiees and Republic guerrilla troops before they have a chance to attack. Trandoshans generally hate Wookiees, they hunt them for their pelts. As well as this, Trandoshans are well equipped to navigate the harsh terrain, and they're one of the few species capable of beating a Wookiee in one-on-one combat. I'm also going to recommend you use another counter-guerrilla force headed by none other than General Grievous, and made up of commando droids. Grievous would be the perfect commander, as he would likely make short work of many Wookiees, and his cybernetic body and experience in the hostile terrain from the Hook War would make him the ideal leader for Kashyyyk. Grievous will be accompanied by commando droids as they're far more advanced and formidable than standard battle droids, whom would likely take a long time to navigate the terrain and will make easy targets for ambushes. Now, with your counter-guerrilla forces, you're going to make your way to vital cities and strongholds, meanwhile the bulk of your forces will trail behind, slowly making their way through the forests and mountains. The job of the counter-guerrilla forces is to make sure they get there unimpeded. Now, once you get your main body of troops to the cities and facilities, I honestly believe that you won't struggle too much. Most Wookiee structures are made up of wood, and although it's incredibly hard wood, the heavy weaponry you brought should be able to tear straight through it. Between the overwhelming amount of droids, elite Trandoshans, and commandos, I don't believe the Wookiees nor the Republic will be able to stand a chance. You're probably going to be sacking most of these cities, taking all things of value and destroying the rest, forcing the Wookiees to either surrender or flee into the wilderness, which is incredibly harsh, but you don't want to be leaving potential strongholds dotted around the world that can be used against you. You're here to take and garrison important things such as oil refineries. Cities and towns don't mean much to you, and they hold little strategic importance to you. Now, it's important to remember that the Republic and the Wookiees do actually face the same problem as you. They can't overuse heavy weapons when you can't, nor their air forces when you can't use yours. So this is very much going to be an infantry-based war. Now, eventually, you're going to begin to tear through the Republic and Wookiee facilities, and I believe that you could probably get the Wookiees to surrender over time. Seeing the brutal defeats inflicted on them by the Trandoshans and Grievous's droids, they'd probably want to surrender ASAP. So you stop the attacks and stop destroying their homes and just let them survive, even if it was under CIS rule. From here, you just have to ensure that your blockade is well protected. And you'll have scored a major victory for the CIS. You now control Kashyyyk, and you can make use of all of those valuable resources. However, do be aware there's going to be a lot of resistance movements against you. And the Republic is definitely going to be sending fleets to try to break that blockade and take Kashyyyk back, so you will have to focus on defending it. But what do you think? Would this work, and how would you invade Kashyyyk? And what's the biggest problem do you think that you'd run into? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, please remember to like, share and sub as it's really appreciated and it helps the channel grow. Also don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @TheLawGuy and tick the bell for regular updates. Thank you for watching, I really do hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.